Welcome to the Better You Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Angela M. Odom. This is your space to grow your skills and leadership capacity. We are focusing on two resources for leadership presence. So go ahead and let us know where you are watching us from. Where are you, Melinda? Where are you watching us from or listening from? So again, my name is Angela Odom, and I am the founder of the Better You Project brand. I teach women how to build their skills and their leadership capacity. I see that Melinda is joining us from Alexandria, Virginia, and Natona says aloha. She's joining us from Hawaii. Welcome, ladies. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's get started. Sometimes we hear the word executive presence or leadership presence. And here at the Better You Project, we have come to believe that they are one and the same, right? They're interchangeable words when we listen to and talk to and hear from corporate executives or authors or thought leaders. They're really describing the same outcomes or observations. And so leadership presence, that's what we're going to focus on today on this episode. Now, you may have noticed, or you probably are one of the people who can instantly compel others to look at them or listen to them. Or you walk into a room and people are like, oh, hey, right? And people are automatically want to know what you have to say or are watching what you do, and they will imitate you because you have presence. So you could be a high performer, your coworkers and employees or peers, they notice how you go out of your way to help them. You spend countless hours preparing for meetings and projects, and you are focused on moving up whatever ladder you are on, whether it is some nonprofit or corporate or military, whatever the ladder is that you are focused on. You could be working for yourself and you're progressing, right? However, when it comes your time for a performance evaluation, your boss, your customers, or the feedback you get is whether someone is saying it with their mouth or with their deeds, that you need to improve your presence. And so you are saying, well, what does that mean? What do I need to do? What is this presence? What is this executive presence or leadership presence? And so that's what we want to focus on. And as always, we want you to take notes, right? Because this is about you improving your skills and your leadership capacity. And that's why we want to give you these resources today, right? I want to give you some resources today. So first, let's just talk about what executive presence is or leadership presence. It's kind of nebulous, right? It's just like when you ask somebody the definition of leadership itself or what a leader is, you're going to get so many different answers, right? And so what we can agree on, right? I would ask you to actually put that in the comments, what you believe some of the ingredients or facets of leadership presence or executive presence might be. But what we can agree on is it involves self-confidence, willingness to tackle difficult situations, and you're able to handle pressure. Like you don't fizzle when it gets hard, or you don't, just forget everything you have learned when something difficult happens. You have poise, you are able to remain calm and relaxed and assured, as in your body language, because that's what other people see. And so that's really what we are talking about. It's not what you believe it is, but what people perceive. So it's your ability to communicate one-on-one with teams and in large groups, and also the appearance. You are well groomed or not, depending on the situation, right? You look the part, whether that is nicely dressed or whatever that might look like. So it looks different. That's the whole point. Presence, leadership presence, executive presence. It looks different from one person, one leader, one man, one woman, one boy, one girl. It looks different because a huge part of this is authenticity, right? It is you being, because of your own unique qualities, whatever makes you you, and allow you to be comfortable in your own skin. That's why it looks different for everyone, especially as we are evolving, because your presence was different when you were 10, and then again 20 and 30. It's different because of who you are and what makes you you. So there are many books, tips, videos, and articles you can learn from that can help you to improve your executive or your leadership presence, right? And for us, we are going to use the term leadership presence because that's what we do here at the Better You project, right? In this community, we're focused on leadership. So we're going to say leadership presence. And so there's no quick fix, right? If you have identified a particular gap. And all we're talking about really is the ability to connect with others. You want to, have a goal to be able to identify what makes you you. That's the whole point, right? And then you want to transform yourself into the best version of the leader you want to be. So as far as leadership presence, really it is how you show up and how people perceive you to be, which is not necessarily have anything to do with your competence or your character, right? And so in leadership, of course, we know that competence and character, trustworthiness matters. But when we're talking about leadership presence, not necessarily so. That is the way someone perceives you. That does not mean that you are a person of good character or that you are a high performer. We've all met people and talked to people, worked with people, interacted with people who show up and you're looking like, oh, okay, that's that person's sharp. Oh, she's got this. And then when it's time to perform, you're like, oh, oh, show me what you got. And there's nothing to be shown, right? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me who have worked with people, and the more they talk, the less you're like, okay, I see what we're dealing with. So leadership presence is about the other person's or the group's perception of you. That thing about make a good impression. First impressions matter. So you want to have self-awareness to know how you show up, right? So the first resource, that's what we're doing. We're going to give you 2 resources for leadership presence. First resource is a person. The second resource is a book, right? Spoiler alert, not my book, and it's not me. Right? So the first resource is, the lady's name is Carol Kinsey Goldman, and that's last name is Goman. I think she's like 77 years old. She's a leadership presence coach. And I've been reading some of her articles and, reading some of her, the things she's doing. And I'm very, very impressed, and I'm learning some things from her. So I want to share that with you, right? She describes leadership presence as the impact of the signals that you send by your body language, your emotional state, and your communication style. So I'm going to say that one more time. So I know you're taking notes, right? So Carol Kinsey Goldman, Goman, describes leadership presence as the impact of the signals that you send by 1, your body language, 2, your emotional state, and 3, your communication style. And I'm very aware, and I want you to be, that none of those necessarily reveal anything about your true character or your talents, but they all influence the way people perceive you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm going to wait on you to tell me if that makes sense or not, because it is a matter of the perception, which is going to lead right into the second resource. But now let's focus on Ms. Goldman, Goman. She talks about what leadership presence is not, right? It's not an attribute that is automatically assigned to a person because of your business results. So it's not about what you actually do. It isn't necessarily reflective of your true qualities and potential. How about that, right? Instead, it depends entirely on how other people evaluate you. So you can be perceived as a leader because you're tall, right? I've heard that like tall people are better leaders. I don't think so. That's kind of crazy, but I've heard that. But being perceived as a leader when interacting with customers, peers, or other executives is the essence of leadership presence. How about that? And so she, Ms. Goldman, right? Okay, so I see you, Natona. You said sure does. Got it. Makes sense. So we have the 5 C's of leadership presence, according to Carol Kinsey Goldman. You need to make sure you take your notes, right? 1, credibility, competent. I'm sorry. I said competent. She did not. I just jumped the gun. Hold up, Angela. Come back. So 5 C's, according to Carol Kinsey Goldman, is credibility, confidence, composure, connection, and charisma, right? 5 C's: credibility, confidence, composure, connection, and charisma. And so that leads us to the second resource. So the first resource, again, is Carol Kinsey Goldman, and I follow her on Twitter. And I also read some of her articles on LinkedIn. And I really encourage you to get yourself on LinkedIn, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're making connections. We in the Better You community, we're making connections, right? And so get yourself on LinkedIn and get yourself a good photo, not your selfie, but an actual good photo on there. And so the second resource, again, is a book. The title is Leadership Presence, Dramatic Techniques to Reach Out, Motivate, and Inspire. How cool is that? Now, this is 2 authors, co-authors, last name Haplin, Halpen. The lady's name is Belle Linda Haplin, Halpen. And then her co-author is, last name is Lubar, Lubar. First name Kathy with a K, right? So the authors of the second resource is Haplin and Lubar. The title of the book is Leadership Presence, Dramatic Techniques to Reach Out, Motivate, and Inspire. So this is really a pragmatic book. I'm pretty interested in this because they are actors, and what they basically say is they're using insights from acting on the stage to improve presentation skills. And they give all kind of advice for developing confidence and like boardroom presence. Basically, they're asking the reader to think about themselves, how they want to come across as a leader, a manager, and an executive. They say that we're all playing a role, which I think that's we can look at it that way. Like we're all playing some kind of role. It's like, how do you show up? You pump yourself up, right? To show up in a certain way. And so because they are actors, that's what they want us to take a look at. So these authors tell us that leadership is a role, is part of a part that we actually play. And they bring this all to us by using William Shakespeare, all of his plays, all those tragedies, and the comedies also. They all rise and fall. They all discuss or talk about the rise and fall of leaders, right? So that's what they do. And so they talk about how great actors have this presence, great political leaders, business executives, military leaders also. So that's the point of that particular book. And I'll just invite you to, dig deep into it, they are compelling individuals who attract attention, and it's almost effortlessly as look at political leaders and military leaders. Also, when you look at these people, some of these celebrities also. But then again, if you walk down your street right now and see one of these parents trying to work on this virtual learning platform, helping their kids, then they are also exhibiting presence. They're commanding attention from others also. And so you want to take a look at the outcome of presence, not necessarily, focusing on acting or that kind of thing, but you want to focus on the ability to be able to connect with people, with their thoughts and their feelings. That's what these authors are saying: connection, authentic connection, as you show up as yourself. So that's the premise of the book, is that your presence can be developed. It's not like you were born with it, right? Some people might have a charismatic personality, but they're not necessarily, everybody can develop this, is the point, right? And so you want to be a more effective leader, then go ahead and invest some more time and energy towards this goal of being able to connect with others. That's the whole point, right? Connecting with people. And you want to be present. For example, if somebody just walks into your office or, just stops by, then you want to stop what you're doing. And if you don't have time to talk to them right then you schedule a time to talk to them, right? If you do have time to talk to them, or it's time, then you want to put away all those digital devices, turn your phone over or off or whatever it is, right? And you want to, make eye contact and be present in that moment and develop some good listening skills. And whatever it is, if they're saying something that's really like outlandish or crazy or whatever it is, and you want to maintain your composure and, sit up straight and make sure you focus on making that person feel comfortable if that is appropriate, right? So the results from this second resource, this book itself is the whole point would be you would have increased confidence, increased clarity, and also relatability, being authentic, showing up as yourself. So that's the whole point. So you may have a title, you may have great leadership potential, but then really, is that how others see you? That's what I want to convey to you. So whether or not you are the head chick in charge or sitting next to her, and you have great potential, and you are, working long hours, putting out a lot of effort, you have great performance, people trust you, that does not necessarily mean they perceive you as having presence or being an effective leader. So you really can't avoid making an impression, but you can really control the kind of impression you make. So I'm asking you to be proactive as you are developing the attitudes, the actions, and the strategies that give you presence, so that others see you as a leader you really are. So within the Better You community, we focus on building skills and leadership capacities. But I want you to be able to recognize what you need to do when someone says to you, well, you don't have presence. Like, I'm not connecting with you. And so these are some things that you might want to do. You want to ask clarifying questions, especially if this person is your boss or someone who's going to allot some contract to you, right? So you want to be able to ask some questions, clarifying questions like, oh, so what do you mean by that? And they won't be able to define it. Then you say, well, is there a person that exhibits presence or leadership presence, executive presence that you can point out, and perhaps I can see what you see, right? If we're in a meeting, just nudge me, and I can actually look at what you see, and perhaps I can take from that. And then you want to ask, are there any resources that you have that might be helpful, right? And, you reacting demonstratively or being defensive is not going to help that situation in that moment, right? So you want to just ask some clarifying questions, see if they can give you some examples of individuals or tools or techniques. And then you might need to just recognize that that person doesn't know how to talk to you, right? They might have the language for it, and you might have to do some other things, right? So when we really, with all of this, we talk about leadership presence. Most people won't be able to define it, right? They'll just use those terms. So we are thinking about confidence through words, through your body language. You want to be able to ask, clear and meaningful questions, and you want to have be able to defend your point of view. Sometimes people will challenge you, right? They challenge you, and so in that moment, you might feel defensive, and that is the moment that might define, whether or not you can withstand pressure or you have presence. And so you want to be able to hold steady, and be able to engage in debates without being how should I say scribbling up and falling out or cussing somebody out, right? And yet be passionate about your point of view, standing right there strong. So there you go. That's what we talked about today. Is the two resources, the one person and then the one book. Okay, I'm going to give out some bonus high fives for anyone who can list the person. Hey Mo, list the person or the book. Bonuses right now for anyone who could list the person, because I gave you two resources, right? And the book. And so let's see. Not yet. Okay. Well, this is the first. The first one is right. That's your first resource. All right. And then your second resource, a book. I'm going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to share that with me. What is this is like pop quiz. You're like, I didn't think we were having like pop quizzes and stuff. We come in here to just sit and listen. I see you, Melissa. Yep, I see you. Yep, and then the second one is the book, right? Leadership Presence, Dramatic Techniques to Reach Out, Motivate, Inspire. And oh, by the way, Kara Kinsey Goldman does not know the wonderful Angela Odom and the authors of the book. They don't know me either, right? And but I do find good information from both of them. So leadership presence, yes. And so there you go. That's what we talked about today. And I want you to, do your own assessment. And it would not be, don't go around asking folks, well, do I have leadership presence? Don't do that. Then so what you want to do is you want to pay attention to people as you are talking to them one-on-one and in groups. If you are doing presentations, you just ask questions, follow-up questions. You'll know if you're connecting with them, because guess what? You're a grown woman. So you know if people are paying attention, right? We got double, Melissa over here getting double bonus points. She have listed the authors of the book. Now that's what's up. So how about we do that? Bam, double high five. And double high five. And so that's what I want you to focus on is tools and techniques that can help you increase your skills and leadership capacity, right? And so this is two resources. Hey, Carrie, you were watching the wrong. Oh my God. Okay, I'm glad you're here, Carrie. And I know you will watch the replay. But the bottom line is we are about to wrap this up. I provided two resources for leadership presence. And then we just talk through what that might be. So we want to invite you to subscribe to the Better You Leadership Podcast. And that way you will stay on top of where we are and what we're doing, right? We want to also just ask you to go and subscribe on iTunes and Spotify podcasts. And if you're not already a member of the Better You community online on Facebook, then join it. And just to be very clear, I'm in there, not a whole lot, but a lot sometimes. But for the leadership, the podcast itself, this is episode 9. And I want to challenge you right now to do something you are, you're hesitant about. I was hesitant about starting this podcast, but guess what? I'm figuring it out. So I want to do that. I want to give you that same challenge. Just figure it out. Just jump in there and learn as you go. Does Facebook not allow us to start watch parties anymore? Facebook, I don't even know, Mo. I don't even know. Facebook is, changing their rules every other day. So I don't know. I thought you'd figured all this stuff out. So with that said, it is March, and I do want to say it's Women's History Month. And so to all of you all who are doing what you do, somebody is looking at you, watching what you're doing. You're a role model. And so we might see all these people that will be pushed in front of us saying, oh, this is a historic woman. Oh, let's look at this woman. And I want you to just take a look in the mirror because you're it, right? You're the one that someone is saying, oh, I wonder what I should do right now. Like Mo, like what? Like I'm watching what you're doing, right? Melissa, I'm watching what you're doing. And Carrie, of course, people are watching what you're doing. And you want to, Natona, the same thing. So people are watching you. So when we are so busy looking, to the left or to the right at other people, let's just look in the mirror because someone is inspired right this minute by what you're doing, right? So share with them, share with a whole bunch of people, the Better You Leadership Podcast, right? Talk to them about leadership presence. And that's what we will be doing over the next few months is focusing on building this podcast, right? So that we might be able to reach more women leaders. All right. You all have a fantastic day and enjoy Women's History Month. We'll see you next week. Same time and same channel. Take care. Much love to you. And of course, my name is Angela Odom. As always, I'm rooting for you. This episode is sponsored by the Odom General Store, where you can find merchandise that inspire you to lead. Visit odomgeneralstore.com, Odom General Store.